Hello everybody, welcome back to Daybreak Coins. Today I'm going to be showing you some of my kind of more interesting US notes that I've got. Kind of what I've got here is a couple large size, a colonial, and a Confederate States of America, or a CSA note. So we'll just kind of get started here. This is the Black Eagle. This is the 1899 issue. Whenever Congress would actually kind of authorize these, that is how you would determine kind of when it is. As you can see right here, series of 1899. See if I can kind of pick that up. So this is a silver certificate. It's a large size note. Let's see if I got a dollar bill really quick on hand. Here is a regular $1 bill. So a regular $1 bill. This is a new one, just a star note. But compared to the size of these, it's quite big. So, kind of, here's the Black Eagle. This is what it's named after. This is probably kind of a mid-tier VF note. As you can see, there are these security fibers, so there's blue and red threads actually throughout the note in a couple different strands. So there's one right here and one right here. And then here's the reverse of the note. So, kind of interesting. So yeah, on to the next one. We'll just kind of go with the large size first, and then we shall end up at the colonial. So this is a sawhorse note. It gets the name from the reverse, or the back. These are known as horse blankets. The large size notes are all horse blankets just because they're really big. And this is the sawhorse because there's actually this big X in the middle of it. So on the obverse, this is this vignette right here. That's what the kind of pictures are called, or the pictorials. They're called vignettes. Let's see if we can focus it. So this is actually Columbus discovering America right here. So that one is Columbus, and he is discovering America. Got Mr. George Washington, and this is a series of 1917. So this is a legal tender note. This is not a silver certificate note. It is only backed by the faith of the United States government. It is not backed by silver. So compared to this one was backed by silver. You can see because it's a blue note. This is a Federal Reserve, or a legal tender note, which means it was backed only by the faith of the government rather than actually the item of silver. So this one, you can kind of see this right here. It looks like some residue. It might have been mounted. Kind of a really interesting read right here. This note is a legal tender at its face value for all debts, public and private, except duties on imports and interest on the public debt. So that's kind of the first thing. Counterfeiting are altering this note, or passing any counterfeit or alteration of it, or having in possession any false or counterfeit plate or impression of it, or any paper made in imitation of the paper which it is printed on, is a felony and is punishable by $5,000 fine or 15-year imprisonment at hard labor, or both. So this is kind of a, $5,000 in 1917 was a lot of money. So you really did not want to get caught counterfeiting these. On to the next note is kind of piggybacking off of that last one. We shall go with this one. So this is a 3 shilling note. This is a colonial currency. So back then, the U.S. wasn't really incorporated. This is from March 25th, 1776. So this is actually before the U.S. declared independence from Britain. So that we didn't, have the United States dollar or anything like that yet. So we used Spanish milled dollars, we used shillings, kind of, all the currencies of the time we used here. So that's why metal detecting early, you see a lot of kind of British coinage or French coinage or Spanish coinage, like the reals and stuff like that, is because that's what people used and circulated. So this is a promissory note, essentially from New Jersey, the state of New Jersey. So 3 shillings was the denomination of it. You can see this is the 12,890th note issued that is actually handwritten on it. And it says, "This bill of 3 shillings proclamation is emitted by a law of the colony of New Jersey, passed in the 14th year of the reign of His Majesty King George III, dated March 25th, 1776. And here are a couple signers. So people didn't really like paper notes because they weren't backed by the hard currency. So if, New Jersey, for say, in this instance, kind of went belly up, or they got taken over, or, anything happened to New Jersey itself, to the government, that this note would be worthless. So people liked hard currency, and they would have important people at the time actually sign the note to kind of give confidence that this note was actually worth something. So the reason I purchased this note, so this is the reverse. You can see 3 shillings, but here, to counterfeit is death. So I mean, that's just so cool. And then here, you can see there is a leaf. So this is kind of an anti-counterfeiting measure. They would find a random leaf and they would impression it, and to check for a counterfeit note, it was really difficult to, remake a leaf that looked identical. So they would just keep the original leaf and they would press that design into every note that they, printed. And they would actually, if they had a counterfeit, they could look at the original leaf, and if it didn't look like the original leaf impressioned in it, then they would know it's a counterfeit. So just kind of interesting. This one is from Burlington in New Jersey, printed by Isaiah Collins in 1776. So one interesting thing is New Jersey, but that's actually an F. So in the Old English language, the way of saying S, New Jersey, that kind of Z version of S was actually an F, is how they did it. So it was just kind of a pronunciation thing to kind of show what they should be doing. So after this, so these are colonial notes, and whenever the United States actually became the United States, they made continental notes. So they look pretty similar, but they are called continental currency. And you might hear not worth a continental, and that's because the other notes eventually lost par with the actual dollar, and you'd have, a $100 colonial note, and it would only be trading for, $1 worth of actual hard currency, because people didn't really trust it, and it kind of lost value. And then last, and in this lot kind of least, is a Confederate States of America note. Let's see, where is this one from? This one is from Richmond, probably from Virginia, I would assume. I don't know. I don't see it right now. This is a very worn note. This is from 1862, as you can see up here. And this one was also hand signed. Kind of stained in really rough condition. But, I mean, it's an interesting note nonetheless. So, yeah. Just kind of, this is something I've had forever. But I always thought it was really cool. Because, I mean, It's from the Confederate States of America. So how could it not be cool, right? Let's see, what else do we got? Next, we have a national banknote or national currency. So a lot of people don't know this, but the cities actually were kind of given the privileges of issuing their own currency. So so in this case, this is the Livestock National Bank of Sioux City, Iowa. So right here is the charter number. So each bank had its own unique charter number, which was kind of their identifying number. So this bank was 5022. They would kind of have to back this $10 note with some form of bond or like savings bond from the United States government, and they would actually just have the government print them their own currency. So you could go redeem this at the bank. So these are normally called hometown notes too, because essentially if the bank was around at the time and it was a moderately sized bank, that you could actually find a example of it from your hometown. This is not my hometown, by the way, just in case you're curious. So this is from, I bought this from a dealer, and it's from the Higgins personal collection. So if you don't know the Higgins, in Okoboji, Iowa, there's actually it's called the Money Museum, and it is the largest collection of Iowa and surrounding state national currency notes. So this guy put together a collection of almost a complete set of one of every type from all the counties in Iowa. And then I think about half of Minnesota, I'm going to say. There's one of the states that is close by, and he's got quite a few from there. But it's definitely, if you're ever stopping through like I was, it's kind of an interesting thing to go see. And it's really crazy to see kind of the amount of work that goes into putting in a collection together like that. So yeah, it's a very interesting note. Lots of different types. So they had originally kind of larger size blue seal and red seals, and this is the smaller size note. Here we go. Here's a good example. So here's something to watch out for whenever you're purchasing, especially if you're newer. If you're not newer, you probably already know this. But they got me when I was a child, so I figure I'm obligated to show it. So right here is a altered red seal. So this is the 1920 G series. This should be a red seal, but it's actually bleached. So they bleached it or chemically altered it, so the seal and the serial numbers are orange instead of the red that they should be. So yeah, that's just kind of a PSA of something to watch out for. So I hope you enjoyed kind of seeing some of my collection. I think these are just kind of some of the interesting notes that I've got that are just kind of type notes. So thank you, and I hope you have a good day.